What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about children's rights in Norway. Apparently, the way that we treat our children and the rights that we give our children are different here in America compared to Norway. And I thought this sounded like an absolutely fascinating topic to learn more about. Exactly what are the differences between how we treat our children and the rights that we give our children in Norway versus the United States? So I wanted to take a look at this Reddit discussion where somebody asked, how are children's rights viewed in Norway? An American asked this question, and a lot of Norwegians actually responded. So I wanted to take a look at this. Hello, I'm a teacher from the United States. I have some questions about children's rights in Norway. I have been researching children's rights, and one thing I find interesting is how progressive the Nordics, including Norway, are on children's rights. I briefly remember learning a little bit about this in an old video that I did. I think children are treated with more responsibility in Norway. Like children in Norway have a little more respect from older people, whereas here in America, I think we really protect our children. We really baby them, maybe too much. It's actually really interesting to think about what is the best way to raise a child so that they're prepared for like adulthood. How much responsibility and how much rights should a child have? That's a really interesting question, and I think Norway does it very differently than in America. What else do we have? Some things that I found is that the government of Norway, the Norwegian government, has enshrined children's rights in areas like sports. So parents can't force their kids to do certain sports. Oh, okay. That's wow. I guess that can be a problem in the United States. Parents can really have a lot of influence over their children. Children in the United States, when I really think about it, don't get a lot of decision-making power at all. So a lot of kids are probably pressured to do certain sports, pressured to do certain religions, all sorts of stuff. But that's kind of just what comes with being raised by any family, I guess. Let's continue. In sports, mandating student councils in Norway. Mandating student councils? In some research from 2020, kids feel like these don't represent them adequately because teachers can choose who runs and they don't have any real power. Oh, I've also read that spanking is illegal and uncommon, with harsh social stigma. Okay, oh, okay. Man, this is an interesting topic. In America, it kind of depends on where you live. Spanking or hitting your child used to be pretty common in America. It used to be very common in America, like a couple generations ago. But nowadays, I think for the most part, it's pretty frowned upon to spank your children or discipline them physically. Although I know like people do it in America. Certain parents do it still. Sounds like in Norway it's straight up illegal. It's against the law. Which I agree, it's a very fine line. Like you should not be allowed to abuse your child. That should be illegal, of course. But in America, there is a little gray area with how much you're allowed to discipline your child. Yeah, huh. The only thing I could find on verbal aggression is that 2 out of 5 kids in Norway report that parents yell at them. How is verbal aggression towards children viewed? Oh, well, at a certain point, if a child is in danger, you might have to yell. You might have to like be verbally aggressive for the child's safety, or to teach them something about their safety or well-being. But 2 out of 5 kids in Norway report parents yell. I think in America that would be higher. I think more parents would yell in America than 2 out of 5. Is there anything else important I should know about why Nordics seem so good on youth rights compared to other countries? Yeah, this is a really interesting topic. I'm interested to see some responses from Norwegians. Or here's an American in Norway who has experienced working with children in multiple countries, including Norway and the US. In the shortest possible way, American children are the property of their parents and are dependent upon them for safety and exercising of their rights. In many European nations, children are seen as full human beings. Oh, okay, I think I get that. That is a very different way of looking at it. Yeah, I agree with this. I agree. This is true. In America, children are the parents' property. The parents' responsibility is what I would say. And the children are completely dependent on parents for their safety, for learning, and for exercising their rights. Children in America are not seen as adults. They're not seen as being able to make any decisions for themselves, really, that matter. But in Europe, children are seen as full human beings. Does that mean a child has the same rights and decision-making power as an adult? In America, it's viewed that as a child, your brain literally isn't completely done developing. Your brain is not formed yet, and you might make decisions like based on ignorance or based on lack of experience or based on the fact that you're a child and you still believe that like the boogeyman is hiding under your bed or something. Um, this is really interesting. What is full human rights? Full human beings. What does that mean in Norway? Let's skip ahead a little bit here. I've read spanking is illegal and uncommon. That is true. Okay, that's good to know. That's not illegal in America. It is illegal to, like, physically abuse your child. But, man, that is a really, really thin line, huh? Because spanking is obviously physical abuse. Somehow it's more okay in America. Somehow it's okay. I don't know why. The only thing I could find on verbal aggression, yelling at kids, sure, it might happen, although it's not something a normal parent would do. Oh, I think in America, a lot of parents yell at their kids in America. Not all the time. Mostly as like a, it's good for you kind of attitude. Like if the child needs to learn something really, really important or dangerous, if something dangerous is happening, parents will yell. And sadly, a lot of parents will yell even if nothing is wrong. That's just kind of a sad reality of Americans. Can be a bit immature as parents. It seems like Norway is just a bit more mature in some respects of how they raise children. And Norwegians seem to view children with a lot more responsibility and respect, which I understand. That does sound like a very, very good, valuable approach. As long as the child is safe, then I don't see any harm. There's pretty much no need to hit your kids or yell at them. As long as you have the Wi-Fi password, that's all the power you need. Right. As a parent, as a parent in Norway, you get restricted access to medical records of your child at age 12. When they reach age 16, you lose all access, and they have reached the age of consent. Huh. So wow, that is very, very different. In America, you don't get to be an adult until you're 18. And I mean, according to the science, your brain is still developing till into your 20s, but you should be considered an adult and be allowed to make life-changing and life-directional decisions much earlier than your 20s. So 18 has always been kind of considered when you're an adult in the United States. In Norway, you get restricted medical records from your children at age 12? That seems like totally unnecessary. What if you need to look at your children's medical records to help them make a decision or to get them care? Um, can 12-year-olds really like have a educated medical discussion with just them and their doctor? Are they going to understand what's even going on? Is that just a very American attitude that I have? Maybe that's an American attitude that I have. Maybe children like are much more capable than what us Americans give them credit for. Certainly. I mean, I think when I was 12, I think I was an idiot. But that's just me. Um, are you an adult in Norway when you're 16? That's kind of what it sounds like. Okay, let's keep going. It's extremely strict in Norway. Spanking is illegal. You can't squeeze their arm or pull their hand. You literally can't do anything that hurts them without a life-saving reason. That's very different. I mean, I totally understand that. I totally understand that. Like, I think that's probably correct. That's probably the way to do it. Really, there's no excuse. You really should not be hurting your child unless it's to save their life. But in America, it's okay to, I mean, most people don't spank, but there's parents who definitely do to this day. I don't condone that personally. I don't think that's necessary. Squeezing their arm or like pulling their hand, like what if you're just trying to guide them, or what if like this seems like such a fine line. I do agree that you should never hurt your child, and I think that's the point here. Um, Neglect in the form of obesity, cavities, or not being clean are reasons for calling child protective services. Oh my god, this is incredibly different. Norway is officially very, very different than America in terms of childcare. It seems like Norway just has higher standards, which I really admire. I admire this a lot. Yeah, your child should not be obese. Your child should not have cavities. You need to educate them on brushing their teeth. Make sure they do that. Make sure they're living a healthy lifestyle. Make sure they're clean. So Norway just really makes parents have to really live up to the role of a parent and have a lot of responsibility, which I think is very good. I actually think this is great. It's completely different. In America, children get cavities all the time. Children are obese all the time. Children show up to school dirty. And there's no abuse. No one is calling that abuse. But maybe our attitude on that should change. Because in a way, it definitely is abuse. Letting your child, like, harm themselves because they don't know any better. Yelling is a difficult topic. No problem carrying your child during a tantrum. Okay. That I was wondering about that. Wow. What else do we have here? This is really interesting. The parent, like how Norwegians raise their children, is pretty different. Pretty different. About what is socially acceptable is very different. Wow. I can sign my 6-year-old up for dancing, but if she doesn't want to do it, I don't see a way to force her. No matter if we live in Norway or the US. Yeah. Yeah, that's the same. If a child doesn't want to do an activity, like, you might encourage them, but you can't force them to do anything. So that's similar. The law for using tvang say that you can only use tvang, physical force, to save someone or save others. Okay. Wow. That's very interesting. Yeah, parents in Norway are not allowed to harm their child in any shape or form. But in America, you can technically harm your child. Now that I read like in this way, you can technically harm them like in little ways, and it's not illegal. Which is really interesting way of looking at it. I've never even really interesting way of looking at it. Yeah. This is interesting. Like, I think more Americans need to do this. Look at how other cultures like Norway approach children's rights. Seriously. Um, this is about the school council. In all the schools I've been to, all the students vote anonymously for who they want to be. That sounds good. That sounds good. That's the way it should be. From age 15, everyone can choose to enroll or unenroll from religious and political organizations and sports teams. From the age of 12, they are supposed to be able to voice and have their opinions respected and considered. But parents have the final say. Okay, this is a huge one. This is a big one right here. This is what the topic has been building towards. This is a big difference. From the age of 12 in Norway, 12-year-olds are supposed to be able to voice their opinion and be respected and considered. That is not, I mean, let me think about it. I think if you're a nice parent, if you're a good parent, you listen to your 12-year-old, you consider what they want, but then at the same time, if you think what they're saying has no merit and is baseless or a childish way of thinking, American parents will not hesitate to make the decision. But in Norway, it seems like you're really supposed to consider what the 12-year-old wants. But the parent does have the final say. So Norwegians respect the opinions of children a lot more. I think that's true. I think that's true. Younger than that, and parents are supposed to act on behalf of the children. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Parents in America act on behalf of the children basically until they're, man, 15, 15 maybe, when you start to get a driver's license and you drive around. At that point, you don't really have as much say over what your child does or participates in. I think, so that's a difference. I don't think, I don't think we treat 12-year-olds with that much dignity and respect. So I really appreciate what I'm learning here. I think the Norwegian way has a lot of value. It's actually opening my eyes up on this topic a lot and making me question a lot of the ways we do things here in America. This is very good. It's very interesting. I'll say this as a teacher in Norway. The government has enshrined children's rights. All schools are required to teach children's rights. Kids have their own advocate and a helpline they can call if they think their rights are not being met. Oh my God. Children's rights are taken much more seriously in Norway. Much more seriously. Wow. And this student government thing. You don't really do student government activities in America until you're in high school, till you're 14 or 15. Seems like student government teaches about democracy much younger in Norwegian school. Much younger. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Spanking is illegal. Yeah, it's not illegal in America. Not illegal. Verbal aggression is something we see. You see that a lot in America. Here, children should be involved in deciding things for themselves. Extracurricular activities, shaping their own life, after school. Yeah, I mean, I think if you're a good parent, and this is true in America, you have a balance. You try to let your children make decisions, and then when they can't, or if they're making a mistake, that's when you step in and help. But Norwegians seem a lot more aware of all this, a lot more thoughtful about all this. And there's a lot more laws specifically about children's rights, which is nice. It seems to benefit the children. So this was actually fascinating topic. A bit of a touchy topic in some respects. Americans don't like being told how to parent. Most people in America don't want to be told how to raise their kids. So the idea of looking at other cultures for thoughts on what kind of rights and ways of raising and teaching children we could kind of benefit from learning about or changing. Probably not going to happen for most Americans, but I enjoyed learning about this, and I actually got a lot of value out of learning about the Norwegian approach to children, raising children, children's responsibility and rights. This was very, 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 like, eye-opening, actually. Very cool. Very interesting. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment, perhaps with your thoughts on this topic. Very interesting topic. That'd be fascinating to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Norway and Norwegian culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.